Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you are new, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video. Now you guys, imagine meeting a man that you think tick all the boxes you have for someone you might consider a life partner. You get serious with a said man, plan your future, get married, and even start a family together, only to find out that your perfect man, your Mr. Right, is also looking for their own Mr. Rights because he's gay. Now, as crazy as this sounds, it's a lot of women who find themselves in this position, in this kind of a situation. And a few of these women shared their experience on TikTok about the moment they found out that their partners, the love of their lives, might be gay on the down low. Now let's get into the video, and I will come back with my own comments later in the video.
Tell me, when did you suspect that your man was on the down low?
So about 2 years into our marriage, me and my ex-husband, we were not doing well. It was toxic. One day I needed to use a laptop, but mine was broke, and a lot of times he would let me use his. He wasn't home on this specific day. I go to open his laptop and his email is open. I guess he must have forgot and not realized and just shut it down, but normally he would close his apps out. I go in the email and I see that there are these emails with a strange subject from Craigslist. Something I had to read and open because I was like, oh no, who is he sending messages to? I click on it and it is messages where he's responding back and forth to a man from Craigslist that my ex had reached out to. This man is openly gay, and the man was asking my ex-husband, have you ever been with a man before? Have you ever tried these things before? My ex responds back with, no, but I've always been curious about it.
Let's get into it. Okay, so first, before I get into the story, I want to give a disclaimer. I have nothing against the LGBTQ community. I literally love everybody. I support everybody. This video is not to out anyone. This is just me telling my own experiences and my own story. So I just want to give that disclaimer because I know you girls like to fight. I remember going through this period being stressed the hell out, being confused, being hurt. I remember like at the end of this relationship, I ended up losing like 50 pounds in like 2 weeks, which honestly wasn't a bad thing. Let's start with this, right? I started talking to this guy in like 2019. We met on Instagram. And honestly, that I find is like the common factor here. I have to stop meeting these on Instagram because Instagram is not Christian mingle. Like, I don't know what rock bikini bottom these be coming from, but they all seem to end up on Instagram and end up in my DMs, and I need to stop. That's the first thing right there. So we started talking in 2019. This is like right before the pandemic. Everything was amazing. Like, when I said like everything was beautiful, like we had a good time. I do want to mention like our first red flag. All right, now the first red flag. I hang out with a lot of homegirls. The girls. I hang out with a lot of the girls. I know what the girls sound like. I know their lingo because I'm homegirls with the girls, if y'all know what I mean, right? So me and him would speak on the phone, and I remember for the first time, it kind of threw me off because he kind of sounded like my homegirls, like the pitch of his voice, the tone of his voice. And he would say things like, it's given, or it's the for me, or period, or what's tea. And it's like, that stuff I say with my homegirls, literally the girls in my homegirls, not a I'm dating. So that kind of threw me off because, like I said, I'm pretty experienced, and I've never in my life dated a man that used the same lingo as me. Like, that's not normal. I didn't make it a big thing at that moment because, like, I don't know, like, I just needed more evidence, right? I just couldn't like stamp it as what it was from the very beginning, just off of the way he spoke. So I mean, I put it in my mental folder. Of course, my dumbass ignored the red flag, and we progressed with the relationship. So now the relationship is progressing. Now it's a relationship. We're not even talking anymore. Like, this is like boyfriend, girlfriend. Like, and that's so cringy to say, but it is what it was. Like, we're officially dating at this point. Now this is like 2020, right before the pandemic, probably like January. I'm still having an amazing time. No serious major problems. Everything is good. And red flag I noticed was he was a little into Instagram. Guy that's into Instagram, especially into Instagram just as much as I am, or like more than me, it kind of gives like feminine a little bit, because like, what's really on IG for you? Like, why are you so into like your pictures, your stories, the comments, and like every bitch page I would find on the explore page, like he was in the likes. It was just like he was just too friendly for me. But that was more like of him being too friendly, not as him being like a gay man. So like, it was just a lot of that going on. But then I noticed like he would post a picture and there will always be like a random ass Instagram page commenting like, oh, you look so sexy, or you look so good. And I would look on the page and it's a guy. Not only was it a guy, but he would keep the fucking comment on the picture. So it's like, y'all ever have like some weird ass comment on y'all page? You would instantly delete the comment. This man would leave the comment like to the point where I would see it, and I would see how long it would take him to delete it. And after a certain point, when I noticed that he didn't delete it, I would like literally say something like, yo, who's this man talking about you look good? This man talking about you look good under your photo, and he like, oh, that's just my friend. And I'm like, yo, delete the comment. Like, why that was even a discussion, because it's like, you should know to delete the comment. Like this, you have a man commenting on your page, you look sexy. You as a straight man, you didn't find that to be weird? I found that to be weird, but here I go, my dumbass ignoring another fucking red flag.
Okay, so for this next story, I gotta add some context so I don't lose y'all, so y'all don't get confused. So this person and I dated from the end of my 8th grade year to the beginning of my 10th grade year, maybe midway through my 10th grade year, something like that. This person has an uncle who dated my cousin. Okay, this person and I also share a cousin. So I met him because he had a cousin. I mean, he had an uncle who was dating my cousin. That's how we met. His uncle has a daughter who is my cousin, who's related to me on my father's side. So his uncle's baby mama is my cousin on my daddy's side. However, his uncle was dating a cousin that I'm related to on my mom's side. Right. So that's how come we were able to remain so close throughout this whole saga. We were in close proximity to each other with a lot of history there. Great. Okay, so I moved away. I left home, my hometown, a month after I graduated from high school. And I stayed away for years. I ended up going back though. I went back for a while. And when I first got back, there was a lot of chatter. But as I was away though, I would hear stuff about this particular person and this topic through guys that I would talk to. But I would just shut it down because I'm not too fond of men who talk about other men to women. That's just not my stilo. So I always shut it down. And then number 2, but let me just add though. Let me add. He had a friend who he was also very close with. There was a male who told me this years before this transpired. The first person to ever know this about him. was this guy. So fast forward to I go home, and like I said, I always heard these things for it had been years, a couple years, you know, that was the rumor, that was the chit chat. Okay, cool. But around this time it had got really profound, and I don't know if maybe he was dealing with somebody that was just talking a lot, or actually I do know he had a falling out with another friend, and I think she went and blasted him on Facebook after they fell out. And so people were talking about that, and so I walked in. One day we was at my grandma's house, and I walked up on a conversation, and hold on, my baby crying. Okay, so I walk in on the back end of a conversation, and they talking about this blasting session that an old friend of his had about him on Facebook. Oh, motherfucker, tired. Whew, it's just windy. So as I'm walking up, they like, yeah, Jay, but you know this though, because you know him. Like you're about the closest thing to him. So if all the rest of us know it and everybody else talking about it, Jay, you gotta know this, because you know, why wouldn't you? Type shit. And I was like, nah, I don't know that. I don't know that to be true. He's never told me nothing like that. And we tell each other everything. Thought, you know, I told him everything. I thought that's what we was on. So, yeah, I was like, nah, he would have told me if that was what he was on, that's what was going on. So, because it was so like heavy though, it was like everybody was just pressing this issue. I was like, I had made up my mind after that conversation that I wasn't gonna not address it. Like I was gonna pull him to the side and ask him myself. So he was working at this restaurant at the time. My baby is crazy. He was working at this restaurant at the time, and he was a chef. It had just opened. It was a seafood restaurant. So I was like, I'm gonna come up there, get me something to drink, give me a seafood boil or whatever, and you know, just kick it. So my other cousin had pulled up, the cousin that we share. She pulled up, had some drinks, and we was just chilling at the bar. It wasn't really busy. And so he had asked me, can he use my phone? He had asked me, can he use my phone? And I'm like, yeah, sure. That wasn't strange. That wasn't strange because we had the type of relationship where they ask to use your phone, you don't think twice about it. It's just like, you know, what did I have to hide? And vice versa. So I let him use my phone. He logged into his Facebook from my phone, and I ain't think nothing of it. When he got done, he handed me my phone back. Cool. I had let it be known though. I don't know if it was during that conversation or maybe at some point within that time span, I was just like, you know, I want to talk to you. I want us to have a heart-to-heart, friend to friend. That's what we used to call it. So, cool. You're like, okay, bet. And I don't know if it was, I don't think it was that night, but I know it was maybe the following night or something. He pulled up on me, and we talked. And I had told him everything that I heard, every little speck. I'm talking about everything that I had heard for the past 3, 4, 5 years. I had just told it to him. And I wanted him to address it one by one. And he did. Every speculation, every rumor, he had an explanation for it. He had an explanation. And the most recent one, when the girl outed him on Facebook about it, about his relations, he just explained it as like, she's just mad, you know. She was just mad and making up lies. Okay, cool. I let it go. And I genuinely felt like he was being honest, like he was being sincere. Because at the end of the conversation, I said, well, let's call him B. I said, well, B, you know, like, it wouldn't really change how I see you anyway, so you would tell me though, right? He was like, hell yeah, like, you would be the first person I tell. Facts, like, before I tell anybody, I'm gonna tell you. I was like, okay, bet. And I believed it. You know, it's my dog. I know he ain't lying to me. So, that was it. That was the end of that conversation. So, here's where it gets tricky now. I wasn't really too familiar with Facebook Messenger. I don't know where I thought in my mind that messages was going when they created Facebook Messenger. I don't know. But I know I wasn't on that motherfucker. I wasn't using it. And one day somebody had told me to check my message. They had sent me a message. I'm like, how? So I go to the messenger thing. And I'm going through these messages and I'm like, dang, all these, I'm like, people on Facebook is weird. Like, I don't know none of these people. I don't know why. I'm like, I don't know why these motherfuckers would be having whole conversations with themselves. You see I'm not responding. Why are you steady talking to me? So then I just click on one of them. I'm like, fuck is this nigga talking about? And it was a thread. Then I realized this is not my inbox. This is not my inbox. Okay, part 2 of how I found out that my childhood boyfriend / best friend was gay. So I left off the part in the previous video that prior to me seeing the messages, and following our conversation, so somewhere in between me reading the messages and after we had our heart-to-heart, I went to his sister's house and just catching up with her. It was just me and her. And I was talking to her about everything, and I was like, dang, you know, I don't know why this is the talk right now. And she was saying, oh, because he fell out with that girl and the girl blasted him. But I totally missed that because I was away, number one. And number two, I had deleted Facebook. I wasn't on Facebook at the time. So I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, he debunked all of that. Because I just talked to him the other day. Me and him had a one-on-one, and he gave me his word that all of that was bullshit. And she literally was in tears laughing, y'all. Like, y'all would have thought that I had on a clown suit. The way that she was laughing hysterically, I'm like, what's so damn funny? You know? And she's like, well, Jay, I hate to tell you, but that's my brother. I love him, but he's gay. And I'm like, why would you say that? Mind you, this is the type of person that say anything about anybody. So you have to take what she say with a grain of salt. If you know her, you know. So I'm like, why would you say that? You know, it's already people speculating about it, saying this, saying that, you his own sister, you know. And so she like, I ain't never told nobody this. But one day, me and she named her friend were out at a club. They went out. And B was babysitting her kids for her. And apparently B had used her phone too to log into his Facebook. But she didn't have access to his messages. She could just see like the preview, but she couldn't see what I could see after this conversation. What I seen after I had this conversation with her. So she was like, when she was out, he got a message from a dude that she was familiar with, that she knew that he had been speaking to. They knew each other. She knew that they knew each other, but she had never met this dude. So it's like, she was like, it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and the dude is like, he's pulling up. And so she like, he's supposed to be babysitting, why he got this nigga coming to my house this time of night? He's supposed to be watching my kids. So she said they decided that they was gonna leave to purposely try to catch something. So she said by the time that they got there, she was walking up the steps, the guy was leaving out of her apartment, walking down the steps. So she said they kind of just like, hey, you know, and it was awkward, but they proceeded to go inside, and B was on the toilet, and there was some briefs, some male briefs on the side of the couch in an odor, right? Okay, cool. Could have been anything. I was still very hopeful that, like, you know what I'm saying? At that point, a motherfucker really had to have, I had to have the evidence that I had, or like a video or some shit. Because I was not finna believe that, you know? So I was like, okay, like, that don't really. And she's just like, you're in fucking denial. You know, it just is what it is. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I just let that be. Then that's when I realized that I was in his Messenger account. And that's when I went through the messages. Now, to add insult to injury, his uncle, baby mama, who is my cousin, which makes her daughter my cousin, the cousin that we share. That's how we share a cousin. At the time, I don't know what transpired between them. I don't know. Not my story to tell. I don't know what happened. But we were all in a group message. And so when I first seen the messages, I took like a day to sit in it, and then I shared it. And I shouldn't have shared it with them, but I did. We were all in a group message, and I only shared a couple screenshots. And something transpired between them. I think, I don't even want to speak on what transpired, but because that's not my story to tell. But anyway, they had words, they had differences, and his uncle's baby mother, and it's quite ironic because they're actually still cool now. They're back cordial. She decided that she wanted to post the screenshots on Facebook. And I don't know why to him that was me doing so, me outing him. But I caught the heat from that. Like I said, they're all cordial to this day. But for him, I don't know, I guess maybe he felt like betrayed. I had no idea she was gonna do it. Up until the moment where she said she would. But then at that point, I was kind of, because he had already cussed me out anyway. He had already said everything, called me every name under the sun. Any negative thought that he ever had about me, he said it to me when I addressed him about it. So when she posted those screenshots, I think we had words again, and that was kind of like that. We finalized that was our last dance. We will never be friends or cool again, because my thing was, for him, it wasn't that, I don't care if you're gay. Like, I don't care what you do sexually with whoever you want to do it with. I'm okay with that. I love you regardless. Like, we've been rocking with each other this long, this many years. You think I not rock with you because you decide that you want to? No, it wasn't that. It was the context and of the messages. It was the fact that his kink was being down low. And I never knew up until that point that there is a plethora of men who are attracted to other men. They have sex with other men, have sexual relations with other men, but it's not that they don't feel comfortable coming out to the public and being open about their sexuality. It's that it's a kink, meaning it's a fetish for them to be down low, for no one to know except them and other outwardly gay men or publicly gay men, or them and other down low men. That's the kink. And how do I know that? Because I read these messages thoroughly for hours. I told y'all I sat in this shit for a day. So, and I think that's also why he knew that we could never be friends, because I didn't just find out something about you. I found out the thought process behind it too. How you really feel about, really, you don't give a fuck about anybody but your damn self. And he knew, because he knew me, that he couldn't be around me with that mentality. So it was the kink for me. It was the determination of being never coming out and always being down low, and then that being a fetish. Like, they would talk about it with each other. They was laughing like it's funny. That's not funny to me. Cause yeah.
Hey TikTok, I'm here. I just, this is gonna be like story time. So this is part one, and I'm gonna discuss about my husband. Finding out that my husband was on the DL. We was together for 16 years. This June 15th, it will be 9 years. This is part one. So like and follow for part two. But we've been together all this time. There was definitely no clear indication that this man liked men. My concern had always been women, and as a woman who's married, you and loyal and faithful, you don't want to, have to be feeling like you're in competition with other women, but to just start having things drop in your lap to let you know that, hey, not only do you have competition with women, you also have competition with men. And how can you compete with another man? I'm definitely not doing that, and I'm not okay with that. So, like for part. Hey TikTok, good evening. This is part two of my story from yesterday. So I'm just going to jump right on in and kind of just, let you guys know the things that I said that started falling in my lap. So the first thing that dropped in my lap was a book bag full of dildos hidden in my office in the closet, that I stumbled across cleaning the closet out. Now, only my husband and I are home. That's in the house. All the kids are grown. They're out the house. Those were not my dildos that I would stash in a closet anyway. So I dumped them all out on the floor and left them there until my husband came home, so that I can question him, like, who do these dildos belong to? Why are they in our house hidden in a closet? What have you been doing? Like for part three. So I dumped all the dildos out on the floor. So when my husband got home, I can address it. He came home and I asked him, like, hey, why are these in the house? Who they belong to? And so his excuse or lie was, oh, I didn't know how to tell you. I've been working a part-time job. At night, these strippers be doing private parties, and one of them left their bag in my car. So of course I would have bought into that had I found the bag full of dildos in his car. They were in my house, wrapped around my towels, good towels that been coming up missing. So, I'm just sitting there looking at him puzzled, like, you really expect me to believe this? And part four to continue. Part four redo. So I'm sorry, y'all. I think because I had the music in the background, TikTok the muted or whatever. But anyway, so I'm going to try to make this quick. He of course gave me the excuse about why the dildos was in the house. And this wasn't the first bag of dildos that I ended up finding. After that, I ended up finding a second bag of dildos. Now at the time, I'm thinking that, you know, he using these dildos on girls or other females. I'm not even thinking that it's a man, not at all. Have no idea, no clue, didn't think it was a man. But so, you know, and I'm accusing him of messing around with women, and that's why the dildos in the house, they weren't mine. We've never used them. They were hidden in the closet. So, and, you know, he stuck with that lie. He stuck with that excuse that he was just, you know, taking these strippers to do side jobs. Part 5 coming now. As the saga continues. So when he got home, I addressed the photos and stuff of the email and the secret email. And, you know, all he wanted to do is, as he's been doing, obviously, through the whole marriage, is just lying about everything. You know, he was like, oh, that's not mine. Whatever his friend was that was at the house that day had used the computer. He think that was him. So, you know, but he still couldn't explain how pictures of him being naked on there in this email that I had no idea of. Like, how can you explain that? What is going on here? But, you know, for me, it was just, I was just over it. At this point, I was done. I don't want no parts of it. I value my life, my health, and, you know, he need to get some help. You're sick. Like, you need to get help, and don't drag innocent people into your BS. Period and point blank. Hey TikTok, I'm back. I'm going to close this out in this segment and in another one. But everything that transpired between him with the dildos, the gay porn on the TV, and the illicit photos that I found linked to his email address of him, of him, pictures of him, and then other men. I'm assuming that he was the one that took those pictures, you know, and really I shouldn't have had to question him about it, because everything that I saw just pretty much sealed the deal. I've actually seen text messages in his phones where he was texting this gay guy or whatever. I travel a lot, and he was bringing it into our home. So I ended up, you know, just leaving. I left him. I put my stuff in storage, moved in with my oldest daughter and my granddaughter, stayed with them until I found my own place. See you in the next. So this should be the last part. So I moved, got my own place, which is where I am now. I did file for my divorce. If you don't know, for those who need to know, you have to be separated for a full year, which I was. And then when I went to file for my divorce, Corona had happened, so the courts and everything had closed. But finally, I was able to get him served, file my, get the papers, and now I'm just waiting on a court date. The courts are backed up. I cannot wait to get my name back. He can have his name back. And I will definitely be watching out for signs from men. Like, when I think about it now, there are things that I probably should have paid more attention to that I didn't, that could have been a telltale giveaway. But women out there, like, if your man holds your hand like this too much, if you catch him staring at other gay guys, that may be an indication. Thank y'all for listening to my happy Saturday, everyone. A couple of you guys from my story wanted me to do a segment on some of the signs of a man who's on the DL. So for me, the first sign for me should have been that I really didn't pay attention to was his social media friends list. A lot of friends on his page were gay that he interacted with too comfortably. The second thing was body gestures, movements, the way he held his hands, certain things that he would do. And third thing was, I just knew when I saw the Adam for Adam gay man's emails that he was receiving in his emails. And, he had a lame excuse on why he was receiving those emails, but it was directly addressed to him, and which means he had to set up an account. So, I would just pay attention to all those things. And I really hope this helps someone who needs it.
So yes, we're gonna have to end it there, you guys, because it's a lot of people who shared their stories. It's crazy how this is a very common thing, that like people are just going around deceiving people, you know, creating lives with people only to break them, because the lives they created were not real. They were not being themselves. They were not being authentic. It's just crazy how someone can just walk into your life and you think, oh, this is the person for me, this is the right person for me, and all along they don't even like you. All along they don't even like you. And the thing is, we live in such times where people can be free to be whoever they choose to be, but people still do things like this. I had to cut down at this video because it's a lot of people. Like, it's crazy stories of just women whose lives like has been affected by such people, to a point where I feel like, you know what, these people needs to be punished one way or the other. Like, they, like, you knew you were gay, you got into a relationship with a straight woman, you need your own share of punishment by law, especially if you live in a country where being gay is something that is acceptable, because you have no reason to be going around deceiving people about your sexuality when you can just come out. Now you've destroyed lives. Now you have kids that will grow up in a broken home because of your lies. So yeah, please do go down the comment section and tell me what you think, if you've ever been in a situation like this and how you handled, or you will handle being in a situation like this. Thank you for watching the video. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and I will see you guys next time.